What is up guys, Soultime here, back with another Season of Mastery video. So I actually leveled up pretty fast in Season of Mastery, or at least I think I did, and it took me 5 days of slash played, which was done over 6 days of actual gaming, and I reached level 60 on Tuesday of the first week of Season of Mastery. On top of that, I always kept my professions up to date, and I hit level 60 with both 300 skinning and 300 herbalism, and I even found some black lotuses during my leveling experience. Now in this video I will talk about the pros and cons, or the positive and negative effects of leveling fast in Season of Mastery, just to give my thoughts on that topic. As for how I leveled, it was pretty much straightforward. I already made a video about the Sulfarak graveyard farm, which I did from level 45 to 53. But aside from that one farm right there, I only did quests and regular dungeons, like for example I did a full run of the Dead Mines with all of the dungeon quests available, and I mostly did this for the dungeon quest experience, which gave me like a level in total just from quests, which was huge, but I was also hoping for some juicy dungeon loot. Spoiler alert, I didn't get any juicy dungeon loot. I also did a full run of the Stockades with dungeon quest for the same purpose, and once again I got no loot, but a lot of very quick experience. From here I did regular questing in the open world all the way until level 45, at which point I was so far ahead of the pack that I couldn't find any dungeon groups. There was not a single dungeon group available for either Addon or Sulfarak, so I started farming Sulfarak zombies while waiting for others to catch up, and eventually I found a Sulfarak group at level 51, and we also went to the Hinterlands to get the mallet in order to do a full quest run. Once again I got absolutely no loot, but I did get a lot of experience from those dungeon quests. Me and my duo partner also had a very good strategy for the launch of Season of Mastery, where we skipped the first quest and went straight for the second quest. So as we picked gnomes, we skipped the tough wolf meat quest and went straight for the boar quest to the west. Turning that in leveled us up to the point where we could do the troll quest, which we finished in time to get to the boss quest, so we could do that one before the masses got there, as that is a huge bottleneck considering hundreds of people usually fight for the tag. After this we went back and completed the wolf quest to get the follow-up for the trogs, because by the time we got back to the wolves, most people had already completed that quest, and we ended up camping a couple of spawn locations and spammed the auto attack button. This gave us a massive head start, and we were one of the first ones to get out of the gnome starting area. So that is pretty much it for my leveling strategy. We got ahead of the pack early, then just kept questing, and did a couple of dungeons, and eventually I got to be one of the first ones to get to level 60 on my server. So with that being said, let's get into some of the pros and cons of leveling fast. So let's just start with the pros first. Number 1 is less fighting for quest objectives and mob tags. This lets you get ahead of the pack and also stay ahead of the pack. Having less competition for quest objectives and mob tags pretty much compounds on itself and lets you go faster and faster, because if you're in the middle of the crowd you will always have competition for mob tags and quest objectives, and in some scenarios that could double the amount of time it takes for you to finish that quest, which essentially means that being ahead of the curve lets you level up twice as fast. Now number 2 is more smooth solo questing experience with even less disturbance. This one pretty much goes hand in hand with less fighting for quest objectives and mob tags, but in general there's just less disturbance. If you're playing on a PvP server and you're leveling fast, there will be a lot less world PvP going on in Stranglethorn Vale, because whenever you are in Stranglethorn Vale there's maybe a total of 10 players in the zone, while if you're doing Stranglethorn Vale when everyone else is doing it, there could be hundreds of people there, causing absolute chaos. Next up, as a gold maker and investor, there's countless benefits to leveling fast, but I'll highlight a couple right here. You get access to both raw gold and endgame materials before other people. By hitting level 50 while other people are level 30 or 40, you will start getting more gold from quests, more raw gold from vendoring green items, rewarded to you by questing, and also more raw gold from looting and vendoring mob drops. Being above level 40, you can also spend any gold you don't spend on learning class abilities on investing, and you can also get some incredibly cheap materials from other people that need gold while leveling. It also opens up the availability of high-level gold farms, and leveling fast means you will have less competition, and maybe even no competition at all for these farms, which is incredibly valuable whenever you are actually farming materials. For example, when I hit level 59, I spent about 6 hours farming herbalism in Eastern Plaguelands instead of rushing to level 60, because I was the only person in Eastern Plaguelands and had literally every single herb spawn to myself. So with that said, let's look at some cons or negative effects of leveling fast. So cons. It is more difficult to find dungeon groups. Because you are leveling so fast, the only people you can group up with in order to do dungeon groups are other people leveling as fast as you, and especially in Classic WoW, there are certain classes that are fast at leveling, and certain classes that are slow at leveling, and it's pretty difficult to find a healer and a tank that are leveling at the same pace as you if you are a speed leveling mage or hunter. Not only that, but you also need the guys you are potentially going to group up with to play as much as you, so the more you play and the faster you level, the more difficult it becomes to find dungeon groups. Next up, you will have less gear, partially due to less dungeons and less group quests, but also because you are leveling so fast that you can't buy things from the auction house either, because nobody is finding BOE items at the level of which you need. That being said, you can target specific quests that always guarantee you an upgrade, but that requires a lot of knowledge about quest rewards, or having done a lot of research, or following a specific guide. Next up, it's more difficult to complete elite quests because once again, the more you play and the faster you level, the fewer people will be at your level, and finding someone to team up with for anything that requires teamwork is a lot more difficult. Another con that is incredibly dependent on how you play and how fast you actually want to level is sleep. A lot of people that hit level 60 early in Season of Mastery slept on an average of 4 to 5 hours every single night. 4 to 5, not 45, but 4 to 5, and personally, I slept an average of 4 hours every night, which is not optimal at all. This one can obviously be easily avoided by just sleeping more, but personally I'm so hyped for WoW launches that I just cannot sleep at all, and it's impossible for me to keep a regular sleep schedule for at least the first week. Now, one thing that was both a positive and negative to me was the social aspect of leveling fast. On one hand, you will technically have less social interactions due to seeing less people in the open world because you're way ahead of everyone else and nobody is in your zone while leveling, which means you will find less people to group up with while leveling or while questing, and in general you will just see less people walking by. On the other hand though, during your leveling process, if you are one of the highest level players on your server, you will generally get a lot of whispers from random people that ask you how you leveled so fast, and people just generally cheering you on your way to level 60. This is something I noticed while leveling, and some people knew my name from my YouTube videos, but some people also had no idea who I was, and only whispered me because they found me through the /who command, which told them I was the highest level player online. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to talk about the positive and negative things about leveling fast in Season of Mastery, now that I've reached level 60. Hopefully you are enjoying your adventures in Season of Mastery, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and subscribe for more Season of Mastery videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.